Hello everyone and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4 Gotterdammerung. Now I know lately people have been talking about the new AI, the new technology, but especially the German Civil War being changed. It's a little bit more difficult than it used to be now, so we're just going to start off with a little strategy guide on how I beat the German Civil War. And then we're going to do a review afterwards of the mechanics, the AI, and the technology. Now what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing the Rally the Wehrmacht path. We're going to be going against Hitler, and we're going to get, at first, a military dictatorship in power. That's going to be couped by the Navy, and then we're going to coup the Navy dictatorship with a Strasserist dictatorship, and I'll show you how to do that here in a minute. For technology in the early game, just get whatever you want. It's not going to finish by the time the war starts. If you want to do industrial focuses before the Civil War, it doesn't matter. It just means you're going to get more industry before, and you're going to have the Civil War end later, which could be worse or better, depending on how you like to play. But either way, we're just going to hop right into it. I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the decisions leading up. So here's something I want to touch on. Loyalty of the Kriegsmarine. You really only want to support these guys if you're going down a naval focus path anyway. Specifically for the monarchist tree, if you're going down the Our Place in the Sun path or the second naval race path. This is going to try and have you face off with Britain. So if you're going to try and match Britain in parity, keep these guys around because you get some of the best admirals to stick around, and you get to keep the navy that you have at the start, which is always going to be a boon because getting ships in the early game can be kind of difficult sometimes. Anyhow, on to the Civil War. For the opening phases of the German Civil War, the best thing to do is to concentrate your good forces and shove them through to meet up at the Czech border and cut the Nazis in half. Once you've done that, then it's smooth sailing. You just have to crush the southern pocket and prevent breakthroughs in the north, which can be easier said than done. Some of the test runs I've done in the past, where I concentrated my forces in the center, saw me getting tunnel visioned, and the Nazis breaking through in the center, and cutting me in half. But I still won. It just took a while. Silesia will pop out after about 200 days, and once they do that, it is kind of a distraction for the Germans, or at least the opposing Germans, that they can't ignore, but you can because it's not on your border. Once you've crushed the pocket in the south, go ahead and move your units up to the front line in the north, and you can put your forces on the most vulnerable part of the line or all across it. And after crushing the southern pocket, it's very likely that you're going to just be able to push anywhere you want, so just put them anywhere. I mean, you pretty much isolate half of their army, so you can just cut through them just like this, like a butter knife, like hot butter on a knife. It's simple. So popping back in, I've decided to go ahead and actually combine this together. So I'm actually going to have the Kreigsmarine Revolt occur, but I'm also going to do the setup for Strasser. So to get Otto Strasser into power, best not to do this, but you want to have the military dictatorship path completed, and then you want to do expatriate the communists. And doing both of these focuses will actually unlock Otto Strasser for your use. Now he's not on here, but I think that is because he is purposefully a secret path, but you can see he's right here. The Gemeinschaft Revolutionäre Nationalsozialisten. Yes. And you can see he just popped up right up top. 0.12 fascism support a day. We're going to go ahead and hire him. And we're going to go get some other stuff too while we're at it. May as well. So just because I think it's a neat idea, when the Kriegsmarine Revolt fires, I'm going to actually fire the fascist civil war at the same time. I don't know, that just makes sense to me. The military dictatorship gets couped by a naval dictatorship, which then gets into a civil war. I don't know, it's hilariously unstable, and I love that. It's great for roleplay in something like this, it really is. Alright, we have 2 days until the Kriegsmarine Revolt, so let's see what happens. They will pay for their treachery. The state will regret breaking their promises. Alright, look at that. Oberkommando der Marine. So you sacrifice division organization, but you get extra fleet coordination. That's great. Would you look at that? Alright. We're gonna hit that, and then we're gonna go ahead and do the Civil War. I'll catch you in a moment. Now, a quick cautionary tale before you follow exactly in my footsteps. If you do what I did, that is, the first Civil War, Kriegsmarine Revolt, and then an Otto Strasser Civil War, you're going to lose all of your land warfare scientists, all of your nuclear scientists, you're going to lose a ton of your generals, and it's going to hinder your start. So it's not ideal. This is not the ideal path that you want to do, but just for the sake of showing off the Otto Strasser path, showing off the Kriegsmarine Revolt, this is what I'm doing. Well, drat, none of my scientists went with me. That sucks. So it's a little bit later, and we're going down the monarchist tree, or at least the Realpolitik tree, as Otto Strasser. We're about to demand territory from Poland, so let's see if it works. We just split Czechoslovakia with the Hungarians, which we now have an alliance with, so hey, that's great. And they accepted. Amazing. I
love democracy.
They have indeed accepted.
I love the Republic.
Unbelievably. And again, Poland has accepted our demands and has further decreased the size of their own nation for no reason. And Lithuania just signed away their independence. I'm honestly not surprised at this point.
I'll make that deal. How about you bitch? You make that deal?
I'd make that deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
Bro, you got to be kidding me. This doesn't... What? There is no way every single person has caved to me so far. Hungary, Romania... Dude, there's no fucking way. You can't tell me they would genuinely do that. Look at how...
That's for the pen. And you know what? I got out of jail and I tried to start things off on the right foot. And you wouldn't do that, would you? So I'm gonna pay you $100 to fuck off.
Alright, here we go. We are now at war with the Comintern. Because they went to war with Finland, which I was guaranteeing. So, it's time. Wait, what the fuck do you mean Northwest Germany? Oh great, the Soviets are landing in Northwest Germany. That's awesome. That's what you love to see. I have a cat climbing on me in other news. So a little context for the ongoing conflict. When you expatriate the communists, you know, they have to go somewhere. They usually go to France, and that turns France red. And it creates a two-front war for you to have to fight. Traditionally, what that would do is you're fighting the Soviets and the French on your own terms. But in this case, I didn't really have that luxury. Poland still existed. which meant that I didn't have a unified front line with the Soviets. I had Lithuania and Galicia separately to hold, and then France was in my west, and I tried to around Maginot the French, and it didn't work so well. Surprisingly, it did not work so well. I couldn't get through them. Believe it or not, the Soviets were much easier to push once I actually got through Poland, but that took me a few focuses to get the goal, and yeah. Sorry folks, my OBS crashed because my cat stepped on the power button to my fucking computer. You little rascal. You're getting everywhere you're not supposed to. You knocked Grandma's picture off the wall earlier. Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that. You know what you did. Hey, don't stab me with your claws. No, it's a good cat, though. It's a good cat. I love my cat. I swear. Alright, so now that we're back in again, our situation is pretty dire. We are fighting France. We've got a naval invasion here. We're trying to crush. And, I mean, that's going fine. The main problem is that we are getting a loss of manpower that we can't recover no matter what we do, and for some reason I'm out of supply right next to several supply hubs within my own territory, so I don't really know what the fuck that's about. Soviets have concentrated like 100 divisions easily in Lithuania, which is just nutty. So during my war with the Soviets, I had several interesting events happen, but the first interesting event that occurred was the Soviets invading Poland, which I guess they thought would extend the border with me and make it easier to push me, but I was already going to invade Poland, so we just wound up invading it at the same time, and Poland was a little stronger than the Soviets could handle, so I was able to make pushes up to Riga. After we divided Poland, it was pretty smooth sailing. For whatever reason, the Soviets, even though they had so many forces before, now just could not handle the united front line. I was crossing over the river onto Riga, I was crossing into Belarus, I had Minsk in my hands. It was a steamroll for the Soviets for the most part, and my fortunes even started changing on the Western Front, which had previously been bogged down. Italy had actually made some gains in the south, unbelievably, but lost half of Libya, which... typical, right? Paris fell. You're kidding. Italy took fucking Paris. This is embarrassing. Embarrassing. When it seemed like I might never get through the Belgian line, it happened. And because of an unlikely savior, the British Expeditionary Forces landed in Calais, which completely upset the front line. They linked up with the Italian line, and I really don't know what the British were thinking. They were there to kill both of us. They were there to fight us and the Comintern. They were just going to kill everybody. That was their plan. Well, whatever it was, it allowed me to break the Comintern defensive line, and I exploited it to the fullest, crushing the British, encircling the Maginot, and finishing off France. It took me a while to crush the Maginot, even though it was fully encircled, because it is still level 10 forts, but at this point, the only Comintern enemy that I had to defeat was the Soviet Union. And I had already basically defeated them. I just took a little detour to take out France after the British came in like winged hussars across the channel and broke the defensive line for me. From that point, it was smooth sailing. I'd had a great casualty rate so far, and things were just looking good. They were just looking good. It can't get any better than how it was, and it was only 1942. You know, we had started the war before standard Barbarossa time, and now we're going to end it ahead of schedule. The next job on the agenda was to, I had two things actually. So, Because I'm fascist Germany in this run, you can still form the Greater German Reich, even though you're not Nazi. You can still form it. Problem is, you need to own Paris, or a subject needs to own Paris, and Italy took Paris, and I couldn't do anything about it. So I needed to betray Italy, but I can't betray Italy with the Allies controlling all of North Africa. So I went to Africa, and I just took a little detour. It took me a while to get through my troubles in Libya, but once I had a supply hub built, I pressed straight through. I sailed straight into Egypt. It was a done and shut deal. And once I got into Ethiopia, I decided that it was time to pull my forces and betray Italy. I also had to betray Hungary, because to ally them through the monarchist diplomatic expansion tree, you have to give them Burgenland, which is a core territory, and you can't not have your core territories under other people's control. So, yeah, I had to kill Hungary. I had to kill Hungary, and I had to kill Italy, even though they had done so well for me so far. But yeah, they joined the co-prosperity sphere, so they got the last laugh, because that meant I had to go to fucking China to finish the fucking war. And to tell you the truth, I didn't even get to finish it. I had spent so long just fighting and doing advisors and dealing with strikes. I had so many strikes that I just never had the political power to hire a bunch of scientists, which meant I never got things like cruiser submarines. I never got the nukes this game. So, yeah, if you're going to go Strasserist, don't expect to do special projects. You're going to be fighting early, probably, and you're not going to have any fucking research to speak of. You're just going to be fighting land wars your whole life. I couldn't even land in Britain. I tried. It didn't work. Now, granted, this isn't the only Germany game that I played in Gotterdammerung. I played one that was a bit more historical, though I went off the rails a little bit. And I'm going to show you that because there's a lot more special projects in that, and I can better talk about the changes that Gotterdammerung brings, especially to things like the AI, the artificial intelligence, and the infantry tree. Yes, the German infantry-focused military branch. To give a short little context for this, I had been forced into an in-siege situation, almost on cue. Italy had gotten invaded, Spain had gotten invaded, the Greek campaign never got resolved because I never helped, and I figured Italy could do it. No, I should never assume the Italian AI can do it. It never can. So the Balkans started being blown open, Italy started being blown open, and they started moving into France. So I did the only thing I could and went Festung Germany. I took all my puppets' troops, I took all the Italian troops, and I just held out. I just held out as good as I could, basically in only my own territory. Now that did not mean that I was done pushing, even though that I was stuck within my own territory and basically stuck in a fortress manner. My infantry, yes, my infantry, my army was purely infantry for this run, was such high quality and had such great buffs thanks to the infantry-focused branch Prussian legacy that I was able to overrun the Soviets, and I was able to initiate a Battle of the Bulge twice. Now let's talk about the AI improvements that they did. They have allowed the AI to essentially do force concentration, which is something I think we all did for years, concentrating your powerful units in one part of the line. Well, now the AI knows how to do that, and as you can see here, the AI has a lot of units here stuck in this spearhead that they've pressed into me. The flanks are not as strong. However, they do try to reinforce them. They're smarter now because they realize they have more units in danger. Sometimes they will disengage from one of these pockets. However, usually they will rely on their flanks, their weaker flanks, to try and hold it together. And granted, it did take me a while to actually close this encirclement. However, I did eventually. Something that this whole force concentration is going to wind up doing is you're going to see more fluid front lines, but you're going to wind up getting a lot more valuable encirclements as well if you can manage to exploit the weaknesses that it opens up on other parts of the front. Now then, the moment you've probably all been waiting to hear about: the technology. Do I think that the technologies are fun? Do I think they're cool? Do I think they're worth buying the DLC? Yeah. Yeah, I do. I really do. I think it's fun. The DLC added the ability to launch nukes without needing air superiority. It added the ability to launch them with missiles, which makes it an almost guaranteed hit, and it added thermonuclear bombs, which finally solves what I think is the underpowered nuke issue this game has always had. Now granted, there have been mods that do the same thing. They make the nukes better, they make them do better things, but this adds a lot of tools for modders, and it also adds a lot of extra for the nukes, I think. The fact that I accidentally killed 1.5 million of my own men with my nuclear weapons goes to show you just how devastating these fucking things can be. Now, with all that said, what about the rest of the technology? I mean, I can take it or leave it. You know, I used a lot of engineering vehicles and the helicopters in this for support companies, but towards the last few years of the game, I didn't have the resources to build them en masse, and I was running into deficits, so I just changed back to the non-vehicular versions of the support company, like just normal foot engineers and normal field hospitals and normal logistics companies, and I didn't really notice a difference. Let's just break down the technology item by item, starting off with engineering vehicles. Overpriced. Next, helicopters. They're fine, situationally. Motherships. They are literally a fundamental thing you need to have now. Next, torpedo cruisers are expensive and bad. You get the same result with a good destroyer. Nukes. Modern carriers are pretty good. Land cruisers are overpowered, begging to be patched. Super heavy railway guns. They're like the ones you already had, but they're heavy. Great. Next. Super heavy battleships are fucking awesome. You just need like 4 of them. If you can't make them, that sucks. The new subs, they added 3 kinds: cruiser, fleet, and missile. You need them all. They're all really good. They are unparalleled at what they do, and that is killing convoys and killing boats and killing buildings. Missiles are what makes the nukes so good in this. You need missiles to make the nukes good, so get them. Just build normal aircraft carriers, not worth it this one. Midget subs for when you need a lot of ships fast and they don't need to be good. They make you spend 2 research points to reinvent World War I siege artillery. It's great. I think that should about cover the technology. If I missed anything, that'll tell you the rating. It's bad. I didn't even notice it was there. Or it's base game tech that was already in the game and there's no point in mentioning it. With all this said and at least 12 hours under my belt of playing the DLC, I can now give you a solid 8 out of 10, auto seal of approval. Buy it, it's good, it's worth your money, I would say. Go ahead and grab it if you were unsure before. If you made it to the end, thank you for giving me 25 minutes of your time just to listen to my review. If it helped you make a decision, great. Leave a like, drop it in the comments, let me know. If it made you not buy it, hey, sorry. It's not always worth your money. Have a great morning or evening. Thanks for stopping by.